I swear, this team takes years off of my life, man. I don't know why we do this to ourselves sometimes, but I just can't get enough. I really did think that this game was over, though. I really thought the Bulls blew it after going scoreless in the final 4 minutes of regulation. A repeat of the other night, by the way, against the Hornets, where they went scoreless in the final 3 minutes. A common theme for that occurrence, which I'll get into. They go scoreless in the final 4 minutes. They blew a 16-point lead when you thought, okay, they're going to put these guys away, get the win, and call it a night. To then, the game going into overtime, almost a game winner for the Rockets in regulation, to then the Bulls going down 5 in OT with 2 minutes remaining, and it really looked all but over. I mean, the Bulls were truly falling apart at that point. They couldn't hit their shots, they were turning the ball over, Şengün was looking like Dirk Nowitzki out there with those one-legged fadeaway jumpers. It was over. I was full on preparing for an epic rant video, but somehow, in those final 2 minutes, the Bulls turned things around, and wouldn't you know it, by actually trying something new. You know, going to guys that were actually feeling it in this game, moving the ball quickly, getting downhill, trying to throw off the defense without allowing them to get set. Shocker, right? Maybe not going ISO on every play down the stretch with the guy who was 5 for 19 from the floor was maybe the way to go. And yet again, the Bulls executed when they needed to and closed out a game against a young, feisty Rockets team. Now here's the thing, aside from those last few minutes in the fourth quarter, this was actually a great game for the Bulls, and it's unfortunate because it's likely going to be minimized by the fact that they collapsed and nearly blew this game. Like really, this was a very complete game for the Chicago Bulls, a balanced scoring night, all starters in double figures. They had a season high 19 threes as a team. They shot 40% on 47 threes attempted, also a season high. Very rare for the Bulls to get up that many shots, or I should say 3-point shots, and not just getting shots up, but getting good looks by moving the ball around and finding the open man. They play with great energy, pace, great effort on defense, great passing, 31 assists on the night. Up until the fourth quarter, they took care of the ball really well. Only had 6 turnovers going into the fourth quarter. Like, it was a very good and complete game for the Bulls. Not saying it was the best game of their season, but a solid game against a young, scrappy Rockets team. Yes, the Rockets were without Dillon Brooks, and they have struggled to string together wins without him. But this is a much better Rockets team than we have seen in years past that have way more youth than the Bulls do. And like I said, it's unfortunate because most will probably forget that this was a great game for the Bulls that they played throughout this one because of how they collapsed in the fourth quarter. Zach Lavine tonight, this was his most complete game of the season, hands down. Yeah, he's had some more stellar scoring nights. A lot of people like to go back to that Pistons game where he scored 51 points, but people forget that the Bulls lost that game to the Pistons, and Zach scored a bunch but played 0 defense in that one, had 0 assists. This game, this is the type of game that I want to see from Zach, because not only was he improving the game on offense in multiple ways outside of just scoring, not only did he have 2 big clutch shots in overtime that sealed it for the Bulls, not only did he have 25 points on efficient shooting, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, but Zach also was very active on defense. Not in just playing on the ball defense, but much more aware and focused in playing off ball defense, which has always been Zach's biggest weakness. Stacey King tonight said there were 5 Zach Lavines out there. That's the first time we have ever heard him say that about Zach Lavine in Zach's 7 seasons with the franchise. That tells you all you need to know about how Zach was hustling out there on both ends of the floor. 3 steals and a block for Zach Lavine. I mean, look, Zach saved this game for the Bulls in a game that would have otherwise been one that DeMar threw away. That and one that he got when the Bulls were down 5 in overtime and then came back down on the ensuing possession and hit a 3 to put the Bulls ahead by 1. That saved the game for the Bulls, because even just the and one itself, after the Bulls looked completely defeated going down 5 in OT, that completely shifted the momentum and enabled the Bulls to get themselves out of their end of game funk and win the game. Like, we've all been going hard on Zach Lavine this year. You know, he's not a winning player. He's the reason the Bulls were so bad to start the season. He wants out. He's quit on this team. He wants to be traded. He won the Bulls this game, not only just with his execution down the stretch, but also with how he carried himself throughout the game and getting guys involved on offense and with his effort on defense. Still had some bad turnovers, 4 in total, but I'm not going to fault Zach for that one because he otherwise had a great game. And then, of course, how about Coby White? This is what I could not understand on why the Bulls just stopped going to Coby down the stretch, especially in the final 4 minutes. Coby hits the dagger 3 with less than a minute to go in overtime. Dude was shooting lights out, 30 points on 9 for 17 shooting, 6 for 11 from 3 to go along with 8 assists. Both him and Zach Lavine were a plus 15 in this game. By comparison, DeMar was a minus 9. Coby was absolutely feeling it in this one, and in these instances where the shots aren't falling for DeMar DeRozan, the offense is getting a little stale, slow, and DeMar keeps missing these long-range jumpers, maybe switch it up and go with something else, like a Coby White, who is hitting a lot of shots. Now, DeMar, here's the thing. I often give DeMar a pass because he's been so good for the Bulls overall, and as frustrating as his game is sometimes, the Bulls wouldn't be in a lot of games if it wasn't for him. But these past 2 games, and especially this one tonight, DeMar's got to be smarter. When he keeps bricking shots, it's one and done possessions, the other team is taking advantage and getting back into the game, he has to start deferring. And luckily, that was the case by the time we got to overtime. But the last 2 games, DeMar nearly cost the Bulls 2 bad losses. Set up a play, keep the ball moving, do what works. If the shots are falling, it's a different story, but when you miss back-to-back shots on poor shot selection, it's time to change it up. And I also blame part of this on Billy Donovan. I mean, it's on the coach to get these guys in the huddle and tell DeMar these aren't the shots we want to take in these moments. Coby is feeling it, Zach is having a good game, try and create plays for them. That's what's also frustrating is because DeMar is actually a good on-ball creator. He's a good passer. It's not like he's a one-dimensional player who can only score in isolation. And the fact that Billy Donovan has now allowed this to happen in the last 2 games where the Bulls went scoreless without a field goal in the final minutes of regulation and something wasn't corrected is a bit concerning to me. Self-awareness on the part of DeMar and coaching and managing these situations and player egos is important here. Yes, DeMar is used to getting those shots. Those are his plays down the stretch. Go with your veteran, the closer. But if he's struggling to get those shots down, you make it clear to him to stop doing the same thing over and over. Anyway, it was just maddening to me to see that happen in real time. You're talking 2 games that could have easily ended in losses on DeMar's watch, and the conversation of who should be traded being very different based on those games turning into losses rather than wins. But anyway, enough about that. Vucevic also had a solid game, kind of got outworked by Şengün, especially in the 4th quarter, but he did finish the game with 18 points, 15 rebounds, and no turnovers as well, and was a plus 16 when on the court. 0 for 5 from 3, and he still has struggled to finish at the rim from time to time. But also, how about Şengün though, man? What a beast that kid is going to be. Loved what I saw from him last year, and he's gotten even better this season. Dude is only going to continue to get better and better and looking like a very solid foundational piece for the Rockets going forward. Anyway though, a win is a win. An almost blown win, but it's a win. And make that 3 wins in a row. The Bulls are suddenly only 3 games behind 500. They're slowly but surely trying to make their way back up into the standings. A chance to make it 4 straight against a very struggling Warriors team who just got obliterated by the Pelicans by near 40 points. Ring of Honor ceremony for that game as well, by the way. Should be fun. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this game. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.